Today, our 7-week-old chicks will be free-ranging for the first time. I'm really excited to see how it goes and how they get along with the adult chickens, because soon they won't be the youngest birds on the homestead anymore. But before we get into all that, I need to feed the goats and feed the adult chickens.
Oh goodness. Everything's a mess, isn't it? Did it rain last night? Ah!
So I won't make you do all the chores with me today, but the plan is to feed the goats, sweep up, which I'm doing now, then feed the adult chickens first so that they're distracted. Then I'm going to let the 3 chicks and their mom out. Now, they've been out of their coop before, but I've always made sure that they went back into their coop after having a bite to eat. This is going to be their first time free ranging. I've made some changes to how I sweep up after the goats. I know, very, very exciting. So instead of sweeping everything onto the ground and having to rake it up later, I'm sweeping it into a dustpan and collecting it in a tub where I can then collect it for fertilizer. I'm also letting the dogs out while I do the sweeping so that they don't have to wait as long. What happened at least 3 times is the dogs got so excited to go outside that while I was outside sweeping up after the goats, the dogs hit the deadbolt with their paws and locked me outside. So I'm just trying to avoid that and let the dogs out earlier.
No.
This is Harmony. She's one of my favorite hens. She lays a green egg that's almost like a spearmint color. And when I saw her sitting like this, I thought she might be going broody. Now, if she's broody, that would be really convenient because Happy's eggs are going to hatch in a couple days and maybe she could raise them. So I set up this camera to observe.
So this is what Spots looks like when she's molting. Oh, poor baby. And I have to be careful not to touch those little pin feathers because, wow. Could you not? I just said not to touch me. Jump right on her. Yeah, I need to be careful not to touch those pin feathers because they're very painful at this time.
It would be really nice to combine this main flock with the flock that has the 7-week-old baby chicks in it, because winter is approaching fast and it would be really nice to only have to deliver water to one flock. The main problem with that is Shade, who lives in the baby chick flock, and she is the daughter of Jet, my main rooster. So I really don't want those two sharing a flock. And now it's finally time for the baby chicks to get their turn at free ranging. Clearly, the adult chickens anticipated something interesting happening when I started carrying all this food over to the coop. So they got first dibs, unfortunately, but here's one of the chicks coming out. This is little Bilbo. Bilbo is a buff Orpington cockerel, meaning a young rooster. I'm pretty sure, like 97% sure, is a rooster because he has a big comb and wattles, and they are developing much more than those of his sister. So Bilbo certainly is displaying a few rooster characteristics, being one of the first ones, or being the first one to leave the coop and leaving his, what I suspect to be sisters inside. But don't worry, the girls are going to come out soon. This is Samwise. Samwise is also a buff Orpington, comes from the same farm that Bilbo does, and I believe that this is a pullet, meaning a young female. The third and final chick is that black one right there. That's all shall fade. All shall fade. I'm not sure if they're male or female yet, but they are half Swedish black hen and half cinnamon queen. Speaking of Swedish black hens, that rooster that they just ran to meet is my Swedish black hen rooster, Shadow. And Shadow is the father of All Shall Fade, and he seems to have a great interest in All Shall Fade's upbringing. I think he has decided that the tiny little flock in the tiny little coop belongs to him, and he is their rooster. He doesn't try to sleep in the same area as them, but he does spend most of his day with them. I was hoping Rosemary, who's the adopted mother of all these chicks, by the way, I was hoping she was going to bring the chicks over to the main flock to get them introduced, but she suddenly stopped headed in that direction and turned back to the little coop, so I think she thought that maybe they'd had enough for the day. It was interesting to see the kinds of foods that Rosemary had her chicks try out. They had a whole buffet of different kinds of chicken treats, chicken feed, and scraps in front of their coop, but she had them eating these weeds instead. I don't know if that was because of the nutritional value of the weeds or because she just wanted to show them something new. Oh no, we have another rooster on the homestead. I was really hoping that this was a hen. He was sold to me as a hen, but with silkies, you can't really tell unless you do like a blood test. And when I was at the feed store and I said, "How do you know they're pullets?" They said, "I don't know. The box just said they were pullets." So both of the silkies that I got that day turned out to be roosters. And unfortunately, I can only keep one silky rooster. I'm going to keep this one, but my other one, Jukebox, is going to have to go. After the baby chicks got back from their excursion, they seemed a lot more brave about eating these chicken scraps around the adult chickens, and I was thinking that they might be ready for integration with the full flock, but then this happened. Oh, hey!
Cinnamon, that's unacceptable.
And I know that they're just trying to establish a pecking order, but with the little baby chicks, I really need to be careful, especially since I've actually lost a baby chick to the flock at one point. It was a much, much younger baby chick, but I'm still very cautious when it comes to it. So I thought it was time to finally herd the group back inside. So unfortunately, it looks like Harmony was not broody, but I guess that's okay because I would really prefer to raise Happy's eggs myself anyways. So a big windstorm came and knocked a bunch of goat pellets, or I can't tell if this is alfalfa or grass, but it knocked both of them over. So the goats got into it and had themselves a little buffet, and then they left all this, so that's been fun. Happy's eggs are still in the incubator, but they're hatching very soon. As a matter of fact, they've already started. So next week, I plan to release a video with an update about the baby chicks and how they turned out and my plans for them in the future. Every Friday, I'm releasing a video in my Spooktober series. That's a series of videos that are parody or satirical, making fun of the true crime and the horror genres. And by the end of the month, I'd also like to release a video about goat breeding, and you'll hear all about the buck that I've selected for my two goats, Vinny and Tolky, and my plans for them as future mothers and goat milk providers for the homestead. But for now, this video is over, so goodbye.